All right, hello. My name's Mallory, and I really love dashboards, and I'm so excited to tell you guys all about them. So I am a data scientist. I work full-time as a consultant for Amazon through a company called Annika. I was previously at NPR and Amplify Education before that. And we're going to talk about dashboards. So I am kind of addicted to dashboards, and every time I make a project, I put all of my analysis in a dashboard, and my goal here is to inspire some of you to love dashboarding like I love dashboarding. I know all of you might, maybe not, but it's kind of like a therapy that you can insert in between the pain of constant data manipulation, and you get to make something pretty. So here we go. Also, this is a dashboard, and I've got my slide deck in a dashboard. And you'll see, you can put dashboards in dashboards. I mean, dashboards all the way down, All right, so why bother? So first of all, they're pretty and organized. So if you have a whole bunch of stuff, like a whole bunch of plots and CSVs, and let's say you have a set of slides and some other HTML output, and you want to put all this stuff together, you should never email that stuff. No one wants to look at CSVs and PNGs in their email, and things get lost, and it's terrible, and you forget the last state of things, and then somebody asks you for something, and you have to go find the PNG that, oh my God, and it's just terrible. So this is a way that you can keep your stuff organized and pretty. In a similar way, you can make things that aren't dashboards. You can make R markdowns, like regular notebooks, but it's a pretty easy transition, as you'll see, to making it really pretty. And you can convert between the different formats fairly easily. So it's risk-free, and there are templates galore. And by risk-free, I mean, so unlike when you're trying a new modeling tool or a new package that manipulates data, you have to know what you're doing, and you have to check a lot of stuff to make sure that what you intended to do, you actually achieved that goal. But with dashboarding, like all you're doing is organizing your stuff and making it pretty. So you can take someone's template and copy and paste the CSS that they wrote, and you don't have to understand anything about it, but did it make your dashboard prettier? Cool, you can use it. So it's a very fake it till you make it kind of thing. You don't have to understand anything. And like you just mess around and go, oh, okay, that blew everything up, or oh, that made, like, where's my output now? So you really don't have to know what you're doing. You're not gonna like mess up your actual analysis. It's just like a fun like play space. Also, speaking of templates galore, all of this is on my GitHub, everything, all the tutorials within it. So my main contribution here is not that I'm going to be able to teach you a whole bunch of stuff right now. I'm mostly like trying to inspire you to bother to go to the GitHub, and then you can just take all the code and like put your own data in it, and then there you go. That's how it starts. So I know this is a bit controversial, but with dashboards, you can have, interactive stuff, like with HTMLs. So unlike in PowerPoints or other still forms like PNGs, in a dashboard, you can have everything interactive, like hover with like information that pops up. And you can do so much more with a single interactive plot than you can with a static one. So yeah, sorry, Gigi, but we'll get there. And to redeem myself, you get to use R. So that's, enough said. And it's flexible and reproducible. So just like with an R markdown that you could supply arguments and then render the code, you can do the same kind of thing here. So for example, if you had 30 different podcasts and you wanted to make a dashboard for each one of those podcasts, you could write one dashboard script with some arguments and then have a little render function that, put a little loop around it, and then you could just render and publish 30 different dashboards with just a single template. Pretty awesome. And best of all, people will respect you. So I have to say, there's like nothing more satisfying in the world than when some Python fanboys that you've overheard talking about how R is dead see your dashboards and then ask you how you made it. And you're like, with R. Okay, so let's get to it. So I've created a 12-step program to quit emailing plots and CSVs. I can't get through all 12 steps today, but I'll try to get you at least part of the way there. And obviously, I just wanted to make it 12 steps. I could have made it some other number of steps, like 10 probably was easier. I had to kind of work at it to get it into 12. But basically, you have your basic layout. Actually, making the dashboard layout is not hard. That's the easiest. There's so much information about that on the internet. We're going to be using Flex Dashboard, as you'll see. And then there's tables, interactive data sets, interactive plots, exporting your data, and then how to deal with CSS, which mostly you'll copy-paste somebody else's CSS, like all the CSS templates that I provided at my GitHub. And then you have branding, hosting. Hosting is one that you're going to want to do if you're using this for internally at your work. You'll have to talk to somebody a sysadmin. Find a sysadmin, and if you don't, find somebody that runs the website of your company. And then automating and replicating, and then maybe making it shiny, which you can totally do. It is a very easy way to you can turn dashboards into shiny quite easily. All right, so we're going to talk through the first 5 things here. Basic layout, printing, interactive data sets, interactive plots, and exporting. Okay, so first, the basic layout. So with a regular RMD, when you open up a Markdown, it says output HTML, HTML document. So to just turn something into a Flex dashboard in the most simple fashion, like all you would change is from HTML document to Flex dashboard. So there's a couple extra arguments that you can add, and my go-to for my basic setup is to have the vertical layout scroll, so it doesn't try to compress everything into a single screen, and instead lets you make a dashboard that you could scroll through, and orientation rows, which I'll show you what that means. So here's a basic layout. So this tab, this whole thing is a Flex dashboard, and this is a page within the Flex dashboard that I've built in like the main dashboard. Some of the other tabs are I've inserted within it. Anyway, so this basic layout, this is done with rows, and how you can tell is that that centerpiece is you don't have exact columns lining up. If you want an orientation like this, where something can span across 2 columns, then this is it's a row orientation that you want. So those little things at the top are fun built-in stuff that Flexboard that gives you. This is a value box, so it lets you, if you just want to give a number, you can do this value box. And then little gauges, and that can be fun too. And then also you can add favicons, which you can go nuts with these. There's a whole bunch of free ones, and you can make your own, and that is, just makes things fun. So here's a basic layout. Nothing too exciting. This part is not hard. The resources, this part's easy, so I'm not going to spend much time on that. All right, so now printing, where print is simply unacceptable. Because the point here is to make things pretty. You want someone to want to look at this. You want someone to want to use it. You want to make something where you can reference people to the dashboard, and then they'll go and everything's pretty and nice and user-friendly, and they're like, why would we pay for X dashboarding tool when you can just spit these things out? So, oh man, I am so in love with this. Look at this, this is in my CSS. That's, this star background of the, it's so wonderful. Okay, so now let's look at a few different things that you can use to make your printing prettier. Okay, so this with base R, if you make no effort, head, iris, terrible. This is ugly, don't do it. Don't make anyone look at that. Not in a dashboard. So the easiest way to make print pretty is with print R. So all I did was load print R, and then I ran the exact same line, head iris, and look how much better that looks. So much better. And I don't have to do anything. I just load the library, done. So that's obviously a pretty simple solution to print a lot prettier. Okay, so now descriptive stats. So before I was just showing a few rows, and now I'm going to run a summary. Okay, so again, with base, summary iris. It's so ugly. Don't do that. It's so easy to fix. Oh, look at that, printer. Add it again. Summary, much better. Much better. And you don't actually have to change the line of code, which is great. Okay, so you can achieve the same goal. Some of you may have heard of cable. You can achieve the same goal with cable, but it's just like a little bit more effort. You can take your code that you'd already written and it gave ugly output and just add the library at the top and then make it pretty output. This method, you would have to actually go in and change your code. So that's like more work. All right, and then now Stargazer. So this doesn't look good at all. Stargazer has a place, but for summaries, just a basic summary stats, that is way too cramped. It's like painful to look at. So another one that's kind of cool, that's getting better, but it doesn't have all its capacities in our Markdown, is summary tools. But keep tabs on that because it gives you a lot of cool information. And soon, once somebody fixes it, it actually has like distribution, like a column that has little plots of the distribution of that variable, which is super cool. To have a plot inside of a table. But for now, I'm kind of just like, that's an option, but printer is also a pretty simple option. And once they get the plots in there, then I'll start using that. All right, so then for models, again, terrible, don't do that. Base R, that's a terrible printout. And here, printer doesn't help us. So printer won't save you if you're trying to summarize model output. And this is where Stargazer wins. Stargazer model output looks just like LaTeX model output, which you could use it works for LaTeX also and other formats, but it works with HTML. So there's printing. Now, there's some links here that you're going to need to see for using Stargazer. Down here, I specify which statistics I want to show, and you have to know the little nickname for referencing them, and I have a slide here that gives you the link because they can be hard to find. Okay, so now interactive data sets. So what does this mean? What is different about what I was just showing you and what I'm about to show you? Okay, look at this. Look at this data set. Do you see this hover like action and highlighting? So before we were just printing something, a summary. I just wanted a few lines. There's no need to sort things. I'm not going to I don't need to do anything with this information or the summary stats. It's short, it's simple. I don't have any intention of downloading it. Whatever, it's fine. But if you have a whole data set, you would like to provide the user with a data set. This so easy with data table, with DT data table. So the library is DT, and all I did, data table, iris, like one-liner. You can make it a lot cooler, but look what it already does. This is so much better. And you could change this, like 50, cool. I could sort things right on. I could search for stuff. Here we go. Yep, awesome. And then a little bit more advanced, a few more keystrokes. And now I can sort and filter at the individual columns and not just search. And also, what else can I do? I don't know, 4.9, you've got search highlights. All right, this looks like an actual dashboard. This looks like a thing in a dashboard that somebody would pay for, but you can just build it yourself. Awesome. And that is, I made it into 2 lines, but really that's like a 1 line of code. So pretty easy, and the code is right here, so you can copy and paste it and insert your data set, whatever it is, and it just works, and it's awesome. All right, so next. Interactive plots. Okay, so now that we're not in PowerPoint anymore and we're talking about dashboards and we want everything to be interactive and fun, our plots should be interactive and fun too. So we're going to take a look at HighCharter, which is my favorite plotting tool. It's actually, once you get good at ggplot, you will find HighCharter to be really quite similar, pipes and all. I mean, it's the actual pipes, not the pluses, but let's take a look. Okay, so suppose somebody, you're making some bar plot. So this is pretty simple. You can see, start with the data set. I can pipe it in, do some manipulation, and then just pipe it into HChart. I will reference, basically go to my GitHub for more details on this because I'm gonna have to go kind of fast. I just wanna show you what it can do and that it's not very hard. So column, HK, a lot of the syntax looks pretty similar to ggplot. And then look what you get. I have this thing, this bar plot, and I can hover and I have information. So, when somebody says, oh, that bar plot, can you put the totals at the top of the bars? And you're like, oh my God. And with this, you're like, fine, done. And like, oh, but also, can you make it separately too? I want one with also just 2008. Okay, fine. Oh no, but I also want one with also just 2000. Okay, fine. And I also would just like one that's blank. Fine. So, pretty awesome. You can make a lot of plots in one plot. Okay, so now I'll show you, just kind of like skim through this bubble plot that I've made here. It also has hover action. Cool. It's looking at some star data and luminosity and distance. And you can scale the axis. So here, I didn't actually log the x and the y. I just scaled. I did a logarithmic scale on the x and y, which is like, there's pros and cons to that, but in the end, if you're trying to show someone something and you're like, actually it's log x or log y, and then they're like, oh God, I don't know how to think in terms of logs. Here, you've just scaled the axis so that you're seeing the smaller, it's as if it's logged, but the data itself is not logged. And so people tend to understand it a little bit more if you're showing it to some product manager or a director or something. And you can very easily add colors in the same way that you're used to with Colorize. So just pick a color scheme, assign with Colorize, and then add the colors, color equals color. Nice, so I colorized by distance of the stars. And then you can add axis titles, which also, it's very easy. I showed you here. Essentially, come back to this for reference. Obviously, I can't teach you HighCharter in like 2 minutes. And then custom hover text. So obviously, this is like terrible. Wow, I should at least round those numbers, but also what are those numbers referring to? So this is probably, this is a really, really great component. So you can create custom hover text. So you just assign the x, the x is going to be the name, the y is the value, and then you use that tooltip, and you can create custom tooltips, and it's really easy. It's just like you copy, paste that, and then just swap out the names of columns, and like it's amazing. This is like this is all it took this code to do this, make this whole thing, and everything up here is just colors and assigning a custom hover text, and then that's all it takes to get you that plot. So, pretty cool. All right. Last thing is, oh yeah, I also want to say, of course, there is also Leaflet, which is great for making interactive maps. Digraphs is for time series, and Plotly, which if you really can't let go of ggplots, you can use Plotly as a wrapper. Okay, so exporting, last thing, to like really make your dashboard super useful so that when you send it over to someone, they don't have to come back to you. You go to the dashboard, it's all there. So you can export the data and the plots from your dashboard. So let's go over the exporting tab here. Okay, so this one is a Flex dashboard in a Flex dashboard. Nice. So here, for HighCharter, it actually, it's a little bit tricky, but I figured out how to do it. So there's a simple HC exporting, which is built in, but it doesn't work. I found that it breaks. And so there's this line of code that defines some things. I have a script, a separate script in there. You just source it, and then you can export. So you don't have to go search the internet like I did. You can just source that script. And then voila, in the corner, you can export the images or the data, whatever you want. And then with data table, same thing. I've supplied the code here for exporting. And then you have the download button, and you can download the data. Awesome. So that they have the data and the plots and whatever they want, and they don't have to come back to you and bother you while you're working on your next data manipulation or dashboard. So I'm out of time, but basically keep it simple, organized, and explore things. So start with somebody else's CSS, keep things organized, and don't make changes that you don't know how to undo. And every time you make a project, try something new. And that's it.